Military historians like to tell you that Germany's fortifications crumbled under superior Allied tanks, elite infantry, or relentless air power. Movies stage the drama with Sherman tanks bursting through smoke, MG-42 machine guns rattling in last-ditch stands, and Tiger tanks lying in wait for ambush. That version skips what actually tipped the balance. A single American artillery system, the M2 105mm Howitzer, dismantled Germany's ability to defend Europe through the cold arithmetic of industrial warfare. This was not about glory. This was about making defense a statistical impossibility. Let's break the myth first. The M2 Howitzer was not just another field gun. It became the most mass-produced artillery piece in human history, with more than 10,000 built by American industry. Now, for the hard truth, German officers learned from Normandy to the Rhine. The M2 delivered accurate, sustained fire at a tempo that turned fixed defenses into death calculations. Even well-protected MG-42 nests or Tiger tanks in hull-down positions were silenced before they could shape the fight. This was not theoretical firepower. This was battlefield mathematics grinding armies down. One M2 howitzer could fire 4 rounds a minute for hours without breaking. American doctrine massed these guns in batteries of 6, firing as one. Do the cold math. 24 shells a minute. 1,440 shells an hour. More than 10,000 rounds in a single day from a single battery. German units faced artillery output that exceeded what their ammunition system could replace. The result was more destructive than anything the Luftwaffe or the vaunted Panzer Force could answer. But here is the real pivot. The factor that shattered German defensive doctrine was not only how fast the gun fired. It was American fire control. The M2 operated under a revolutionary fire direction center system. Central plotting boards could align dozens of batteries onto one point at the same moment. German troops were not engaging one howitzer. They were hit by synchronized destruction from guns scattered miles apart. Even P-47 Thunderbolt ground attack missions looked modest next to the weight of fire American artillery could summon without warning. A German infantry officer captured near St. Vith described the nightmare simply. American artillery was not random like in the previous war. It was surgical. They could put shells precisely where they wanted them, exactly when they needed them there. No trench, no bunker, no supply path, no telephone line felt safe from that kind of calculation. Under that kind of precision, the map itself turned hostile. The numbers tell the story of how German defenses eroded. Before facing massed M2 formations, German lines could withstand bombardment for weeks. After American howitzer batteries were fully deployed, typical positions lasted less than 72 hours under continuous fire. Defensive works that once endured for weeks now fell in days. Now look at the tactical shift that cracked German strategy. Artillery superiority became the deciding concept. American units deployed M2 howitzers at a density of roughly 1 gun for every 500 yards of front. Overlapping fields of fire erased daylight movement for German troops. Under those conditions, defense became statistically unsustainable. Trying to hold ground meant inviting annihilation. The M2's flexibility wrecked German planning cycles. The same howitzer that shattered bunkers with high-explosive shells could punch through armor with armor-piercing rounds, pin down infantry with air-burst fuses, and lay down smoke screens for advancing troops. Sherman tanks and rifle companies moved beneath this canopy of fire. German staff officers complained that defending against the M2 demanded preparing for several different attack profiles at once. You cannot build a single solution when the threat shifts by the minute. Then came the economic revolution of the battlefield. German strongpoints took months to design and thousands of laborers to complete. A single M2 battery could level those works in hours with shells that cost less than the concrete and steel they obliterated. The math of destruction became cheaper, faster, and more reliable than the math of construction. Once that ledger turned, defensive warfare bled resources it could not replace. American artillery officers ran the calculations with professional ruthlessness. One M2 howitzer firing for 8 hours could deliver more explosive energy than an entire German artillery regiment could produce in a full day. Industrial output, not just tactics, decided the tempo. German defensive doctrine counted on artillery support that never matched American production. The gap was not tactical. It was structural. A captured German artillery commander explained the scale of the miscalculation. They had planned ammunition usage by Great War standards, perhaps 50 rounds per gun per day. The Americans were firing 500 rounds per gun daily. Their defensive strategy rested on math that was 25 years out of date. When the numbers changed, their doctrine could not keep pace. The darkest consequence of the M2's dominance is this. It pushed Germany to abandon linear defense. Fixed positions became traps under American artillery. The Wehrmacht pivoted to mobile defense not out of choice, but because the M2 made static warfare impossible to sustain. Stay still, and you died. Move, and you might survive until nightfall. Here is the unforgiving equation that broke German defenses. The M2 howitzer delivered precise, continuous fire at a cadence faster than Germany could build or repair. Every bunker built could be wrecked faster than it could be replaced. Every line prepared could be neutralized before it reached full effectiveness. Defense, measured in time, material, and manpower, lost the numbers game. German doctrine books reflected this collapse. Manuals were rewritten again and again to counter American artillery methods. Orders shifted from hold the line at any cost to avoid American fire concentrations by constant movement. The M2 did not only smash individual fortifications, it broke the larger concept of positional warfare on the Western Front. One American artillery officer summarized the transformation. Before Europe, they saw artillery as a support arm for infantry assaults. After watching German defenses unravel under sustained fire, they learned artillery's real task was to make enemy positions mathematically unsupportable. The M2 did not merely assist the advance, it made resistance itself untenable. Modern artillery practice flows from those lessons. Self-propelled howitzers, rocket artillery, and precision-guided munitions all trace their doctrine to what the M2 proved in combat against German defenses. The weapon did not just hurl shells across the map. It delivered a proof by fire that industrial capacity, coordinated by brains and wires, can outrun tanks, airplanes, and machine guns. When the arithmetic is that lopsided, courage is not enough. Numbers win.